All right, for our module number 6, we're going to talk about libraries and different ways that we can add pre-done modules into our application. So I've got a basic Flask install going on here. And let's just do a, let's see, a pip freeze and send it to our requirements document. And let's take a look at our requirements document. Our requirements document has gotten bigger. We've went ahead and added pandas, and with pandas, it added a couple other things like this date util and some other ones. But really, it's Flask, Gunicorn, and pandas, and then also the MySQL or the PyMySQL. Those are the ones that you actually install, and all the rest of them kind of just get added with it. So those are the ones that have been installed. In our app, nothing changes, so we can close that. We can close requirements, and then over here, as far as like the changes we made since the one that was for the loan amortization, we just now have a single sales blueprint and a single sales data HTML, and we now have a in our routes we kept the routes actually exactly the same. The database connect. You'll just adjust this and create a new database with your new Heroku app, and then make a new table. So let's go ahead and look at the sales blueprint, and we'll talk about this for the sales blueprint. So what we did in sales is we imported this new library called Pandas, and we gave it a little alias called PD. So then now whenever we use PD, it basically means use pandas, and we'll use it here. And with pandas, it basically is a whole library that allows us to send a whole table over to the web. And in the web, it allows us to look at it as a whole. So let's take a look at what this little bit of code does. So we just make the connection, get DB, which we used in our DB Connect. We say select all from our sales data, which we already have, and then we connect into the cursor, we execute it, and we fetch it, and we send it out, and we put it in using pandas. We make it a data frame and send the whole data frame out to the web. And then from there, we send the table, okay, which is rows only here. So actually rows only is what we're sending out. Okay, that goes here, and it is going to be put into table in our sales data here. So whenever we call table, which is here, that is all the rows data. Okay, so that's when you have two things here, this is the data that's being sent, and this is where it's going into, just like a regular variable in Python. So let's take a look at what this actually looks like. So I'm going to drag this over. This is our home page here. Oh, I stopped it. So let's go ahead and start it up again. All right, got it going. Okay, and let's drag it over. Okay. All right, so this is our home page, and about, there's really nothing there. But in our show sales, we now have this really cool little table, okay, and it's actually a Panda object, okay, and it's a data table coming right from the database, and now it allows us to do a little bit of functionality with jQuery, okay, so it allows us to sort the dates, sort the monthly amounts, and set the sales data ID. I mean, we can pick which ones we want to do. We can say show a certain number of entries, but the really cool part is we could say give me everything that has like a 98 in it. Well, notice there's a 98 here and a 98 here. We could also just say give me anything with a 2024-08, and it will just grab. So it actually is doing a search off every one of the fields. Give me anything with a 2 in it. Well, they all have 2s in it. Give me anything with a 225. It's just that one. Okay, so this is a really cool little jQuery, add a little bit of cool functionality to this. So for your assignment, I want you to do this sales data, add a sales data, okay, which means in your database, let me see if I can grab the database. In the database, you'll need to make a sales data table, Okay, and this is just really basic: sales data ID, monthly amount, date, and region. Real basic. But then notice that I actually just copied this part right here, right into ChatGPT, and said, here is my data structure. Give me 10 or 15 or 20 or 30. Give me an SQL statement with that as an insert. And it just gave it to me right here. I just copied and pasted it in, and it just gave me sample data. So you could ask chat for the sample data so you don't have to come up with it, and then just insert it, run it. And then if you actually look at the sales data, click here, it has that sample data automatically put in. Okay. And that's the sales data that's showing up here. It's the sample data. So I can do that again. I can say, give me another 10, give me another 10, give me 50, and it will put it all in. 50 is probably a little bit much for ChatGPT, and it'll probably fail out. But you could say, give me 10 or 15, and it does a pretty good job of adding that data in for you. So let's take a look at the code one last time. This is actually pretty easy, the sales pie. Okay, here's that code. You can pause the video and look at it. There wasn't a whole lot there to it. And in the sales data, there is a little bit more in the sales data. Okay, so sales data HTML, we have our first block. Okay, here's our first block, and we called it content. We're still extending off the base. We added the table header up here. Okay, and then here's our body with our variable that we're Jenga variable that we're bringing in. Okay, and then down here we have end block, but then we added another block and we called it scripts. And we have, we added this little bit of code here. Okay. Now, interestingly, in our base, we made some more adjustments. In our base, we have adjusted the title, adjusted this title. We now are saying sales with our blueprint here. But then down here, we added a new block for content and then a new block for our scripts. Okay. And then also, you have to be careful because you want the full version of jQuery here. Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to run the app. So let's just come up here and click this again. When you run the app, and if you run into an error, I'm in Chrome, you can right click and say inspect, and from inspect you can click this little console button here. And if you're running into an error, it will be down here in the actual console area. Okay, so you can highlight the error and copy and paste it over into ChatGPT and say, this is the error I'm getting. And then just feed ChatGPT your code and tell it, well, this is what my base looks like. Adjust my base based off this error.